Do you know the secret lessons of changing the world with your ideas? A valuable source for these lessons are the corresponding patents. In my research, I discovered 5 crucial lessons that paved the way to the greatest innovation. The most we can learn are from our mistakes. Mr. Steve Jobs, one of the greatest visionaries of our time, experiments the setback with his first patent. But why? This misstep will provide us meaningful insights. To get the most out of this misstep, we need to know what patents are all about. Guiding us through the significance of patents, I had the privilege to meet Dr. Borbach, an author, physics, and patent attorney. So, first of all, why do people file patents?
The classic reason is, of course, you want exclusivity for whatever you invented. You could even say you want a monopoly for your invention. So this is a mostly economic reason. The other thing, especially also, frankly, also for private inventors, you want some prestige. The prestige associated with being granted a patent at some point.
And what can be patented? Can I patent everything?
Essentially technical stuff. So certainly everything a mechanical engineer would come up with should be patentable. What is not patentable and is not meant to be patented is obviously trademarks. Trademarks can be protected, but not by a patent. That's the concept.
Okay, so what is the criteria for it to be patentable?
I think there's 2 main aspects and relevant legal terms. One is something to be patentable should be novel, and novel practically is new. And the other criterion is something to be patentable should have some form of an inventive step.
But Steve Jobs' Apple III was new and it was advanced in technology. So why didn't it work? It lacked at one simple crucial point, and that was simply the user experience. The people didn't like the way how to use the Apple III, so they didn't buy it at the end. This misstep was one of the first leading to Jobs' dismissal from the company he founded. That's really hard, or? However, this setback was just one of the first steps to even greater success. So what can we learn from this story? The point is not the boring and the simple stand up if you're falling. That's too simplistic and doesn't help anyone. The real crux of the matter is, like Steve Jobs once said, people with passion can change the world for better. And this is exactly what you need. If you don't love what you're doing, you don't have the energy to come back after a setback. If you don't have the intrinsic interest in that what you're doing, you don't have the energy to push boundaries and make a lasting change. When I look to the patent here, a question came up to my mind. What have Steve Jobs and Steven Spielberg in common? Correct, both are visionaries and changed the world in their discipline. And both have patents, but that's not what they are known for. Fun fact by side, did you know that Spielberg is a combination of 2 German words? Spiel, which means play, and Berg, which is just mountain. So Spielberg is Play Mountain. Funny. When Spielberg created the movie Jaws, he had a clear vision of the camera movement. He wanted to make the audience feel like they were in shark's mouth. But there was no camera technology allowing him to do this. But Spielberg didn't give up. He worked together with engineers that make this effect possible. The system was a great success and it helped him to create Jaws, one of the most iconic films in the history. If you want to reach great things, don't let technology limit what you're doing, because then it can do everyone else. If you want to do something, build your own technology if you need it and go out for it. Imagine it's summer and you want to go to the beach. But you can't go because you're in a new job and the jobs force you to be there. Exactly this happened to Jack Kilby in 1958. All his colleagues go for vacation, but he needed to stay in the lab. But He had the lab for his own, so he can do what he was passionate for. What would you do if you have a lab completely for your own? Jack Kilby used that time to make a great invention. He comes up with an integrated circuit, a piece of silicon where every electronic component you need is combined at one piece. And this was an absolute game changer for the industry. So this story tells us you never know when a great idea comes up to your mind. And if it's vacation time and everyone else is outside, do what you like to do. Just like cool innovations often popped out of the blue with a big surprise. I was really surprised as I read at patents that there are a lot of similar patents from different nations dealing with the same topic. What does it mean if you have a local patent for something to the rest of the world? So this leaves me with a question mark. So I drive once more to our patent expert Dr. Borbach and raise that question to him. Could my invention I've patented in Germany copied in the US?
Yes, this is a nice question, but I'm afraid the answer cannot make everybody happy, because the answer is yes, if you have made your decision to have a patent only in Germany, whatever you have patented can be copied in other countries, for example, in the US.
That was definitely not the answer I was hoping for, but it demonstrates the complexity of patent law and lead us directly to one of the greatest misconceptions in the history of technology. Have you ever wondered who invented the light bulb? If you think it's Thomas Edison, you're sadly wrong. In fact, Joseph Swan wrote the first patent for a light bulb 2 years before Edison. Edison took this idea, make some improvements, and write a patent for his own. This led to a fierce patent dispute between the inventors, Swan and Edison. Both great pioneers in the world of incident lamps, both claimed to have individually invented the light bulb, sparking a heated legal battle for patent recognition. In the end, Edison retained the patent, celebrating as the father of the light bulb, and celebrated as one of the best inventors in history. This dispute shows the importance of standing up for your ideas, whether you're a great inventor or an ordinary employee. It's crucial to embrace your creativity and have the courage to demand the recognition you deserve. Also today, intellectual property theft is a global issue impacting businesses across all industries. According to a report by European Commission, approximately 86 million fake items were detained in European Union in 2022. The trend of making imitations isn't limited just to Asia. The Plagiarians Association, a group fighting against intellectual property theft, gives yearly an award for the most balanced copies. This year, one of the awards was a replica of a Mercedes diagnostic device, the original on the left, the copy on the right, with a distribution location just 15 minutes drive away. Without placing it next to the original, one could easily mistake it for the authentic product. Intellectual property theft is not just a moral issue, it's a serious threat to the global economy. But what if you want to be copied? The last lesson I share with you blew me completely away. It demonstrates how a decision, seemingly unconventional at first glance, can have a profound impact on the entire world. The last story is about a patent that was never been written. Imagine it's the year 1885 and your son is bitten by a rabid dog. At this time, this often meant certain death, because if the disease broke out, it's still not healable today. This was exactly what was happening to a desperate mother. In her desperation, she sets out with her son to the only person from whom she hopes for salvation, the chemist Louis Pasteur. Pasteur had previously demonstrated in animals experiments that it's possible to immunize against rabbit after an infection, but before the disease manifests. Thus, he saved the boy's life with the first immunization of a human. Pasteur had the idea to immunize against rabbit. But the principle of vaccination was discovered by the English doctor Edward Jenner in the fight against smallpox. However, Jenner consciously decided against patenting the principle in order to ensure that it remains affordable for the poorer strata of the population. Sometimes you have to decide if you want to be rich or if you want to change the world. Mr. Jenner goes for the second one. Thank you, Mr. Jenner, for more than a million lives.